The telecoms director advocates for laws to deal with prevalence of cybercrime in the region. An electronic communications bill expected to lead to a level playing field in the telecoms market, and a $6 million EU-funded project to rehabilitate farm access roads in Salisbury, due to start in June. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. First up, the Caribbean region has become a playground for hackers, and because of that, the Director of Telecommunications says now more than ever, laws are needed to address cybercrimes.
In recent years, the country has been putting measures in place to address cybercrime, including developing a cybersecurity strategy and legislating an Electronic Transactions Act, Electronics Evidence Act, and Electronic Filing Act. Director of Telecommunications Bennett Thomas says other laws will be put in place. He says he is very worried about the hacking of financial information.
The Caribbean region is now like a playground for the big players, the hackers and so forth. They are looking for areas of vulnerability, and to them the Caribbean area is certainly coming an area for that. There are no non-discriminating actors out there. They decide there are no boundaries. They simply go about, and the main concern usually is to take as much money from you as possible. There are different avenues that the attacks can come from, and that's why it's so important that our institutions are knowledgeable of cybercrime. The state should be taking the necessary guard against cybercrime. Institutions, schools, technicians, experts, all of us should be involved in this whole process, because it can literally bring down a country economically.
Thomas attended a cybersecurity meeting in St. Lucia last month where an action plan was developed. He says that document will be presented to Caribbean heads of government soon.
We're looking at ways and means to combat cybercrime, whether we put up the necessary institutions, the awareness, the technical infrastructure, the legislative framework. Critical to that, because you need to know, how am I going to pursue a criminal if we do not have the necessary laws to apprehend him and to prosecute him too.
Meantime, head of the NTRC says he anticipates the passing of an electronic communications bill to allow them more power to address unfairness within the telecoms market. The revised draft Electronic Communications Bill, when passed in Parliament, will replace the 2010 Telecommunications Act. Director of the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, Craig Nesty, told Channel 5 News, laws guiding regulation of the Eastern Caribbean telecommunications sector require updating.
That's about 15 to 16 years old. So it doesn't really address a lot of the things that are happening in the market currently, where we speak of certain things like blocking of WhatsApp, for example, and ensuring that there's greater competition on the retail side. In the old regulations, consumer protection wasn't a real mandate of the regulator. It mentioned basically passing consumer-related issues to the Consumer Relations Office in the particular island. But as you know, those don't really exist, and especially in a state like Dominica. So these new regulations are giving the regulators more authority to deal with consumer-related issues and to deal with more retail side issues to ensure that there's greater protection for the public in that space.
Nesty says another issue is that there is a duopoly in certain segments of the market with respect to phone and internet service, which basically means the market is dominated by a small number of companies.
One provider or two providers control access to the island, that is submarine cables. They control the distribution of services, meaning the networks on the island, and they control the retail side, right? So it's very difficult for other entrants to come in and compete in that type of market structure. What we're hoping to see happen with the introduction of these new regulations is the regulators on the ground in Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, and St. Kitts will have the tools to address some of these market imbalances to ensure that there's greater competition and better consumer welfare.
The bill consists of 6 regulations, some of which emphasize promotion of competition.
The hope is that by introducing more competition on the broadband, in the broadband market, you will drive prices down, you will increase an uptake in broadband. It will lead to all of the ancillary benefits of having broadband, like more efficiencies in your network, greater information sharing, a more educated public, increase in GDP, and all of those benefits that have sort of eluded Dominica for so long.
And the head of one telecommunications company here says while there were aspects of the bill that raised questions, he's supporting the move to revisit telecoms laws. On the regulations of the bill, which addresses promotion of competition, Flow's country manager Jeffrey Baptiste says he is open to competition in the market.
I think we follow the legislation to the letter as it speaks to interconnect and really, facilitating competition in our market. So we have absolutely no objection to that. I think competition that is created in a fair and very honest environment, I think, is useful. The other issues, other areas in the Telecommunications Act that we had some concerns around, we have shared it with centrally through our legal and regulatory people. But on the question of open competition, we have absolutely no issues with the spirit of competition.
Okay, can you speak to these concerns?
Not necessarily. I think these are concerns that were taken more centrally, and I have my own personal views on it, but I think we have articulated it in other fora before, and I do not know that I'd want to revisit them now.
Baptiste says he acknowledges areas of the bill which seek to benefit consumers.
We are a more mature society with respect to telecommunications. I think there is a need to revisit it. I think the whole question of revisiting the Act in and of itself is a good move. I think ensuring that the concerns and the input of relevant stakeholders are taken on board in a very serious manner, I think, is also key. The service providers, I think we are the forefront of really driving the whole telecommunications sector across the region, and I think the suggestions coming from the telcos, the telecommunications companies, must be taken seriously. And I think generally the posture is to engage the service providers and really in a very structured and serious manner to consider the views that we put forward.
Farmers of Salisbury will not have to wait much longer before rehabilitation work on their farm access roads in the heights of the village begin.
Government is eyeing June to begin the European-funded project under the Banana Accompanying Measures program. This has been a long-time plan for government, which identified feeder roads at Salisbury, Cahome and Calibishi Heights as top critical areas requiring immediate attention back in 2015. The project covers 14.6 kilometers of road at a little over $6 million. Special Projects Coordinator in the Ministry of Agriculture, Nicholas Esprit, says a company has already been contracted for the Salisbury Farm Roads project.
The European Union fund would be kicking in very shortly. The contracts are in with the EU under review. The signing of the contracts would be by the end of May, for work to begin no later than 4 weeks after the signing of the contract. That would put us in June. Give and take everything, we expect work to begin on the feeder roads of Salisbury Heights by the end of June, which is very good news for the farmers of that area. It would begin at the top of the village of Salisbury and 14 kilometers across, back into Cahome.
Esprit says government will spend between $10,000 to $20,000 to clear slides and debris caused by Tropical Storm Erika along farm routes.
There would still be a few secondary roads where we would have some intervention to be made. Government is considering the sum of monies to be put into that system, and through my office, that is to say the Office of Special Projects Coordinator under the Ministry of Agriculture, we would do some intervention. We also mentioned some time back of the Makushui-Gorman Road, where the farmers has to drive through the river. That is an area still being considered to have some work done for the farmers to alleviate the problem that they have. That is to say, driving through the river. We're now looking at the sums and allocating the monies. As soon as that is done, we will bring in the equipment and do some work on this road for these farmers.
Recently, government also contracted Vidal Construction Services to patch roads in the community. That project is complete. Salisbury farm roads have been a subject of controversy as the people of Salisbury, in frustration over the deplorable condition of their roads, protested in May 2015 demanding government action. That led to some of the protesters ending up in court and currently facing charges for disturbing public peace. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
The Dominica State College has been identified as a medium for helping Dominica improve its climate resilience and sustainable energy efforts. DOC's chairman says the learning institution can be used as an incubator to deploy new technologies to solve problems. The remarks came at the end of a 3-day national workshop on sustainable energy and climate resilience.
We have to see education as itself a tool for development, not because we can get a job and get paid, but because we can create stuff, we can solve problems. And the Dominica State College has a very important role to play. I hope that we'll be able to implement some projects. There have been some discussions. I hope that we'll be able to connect the Dominica Solid Waste Project with the State College. Being able to utilize the use of technologies that we will be using to solve the problems.
Henderson, who is also the country's permanent representative at the United Nations, says Dominica can position itself to teach the rest of the world about sustainable energy.
We should use all these opportunities as opportunities to teach and to learn, and so that we can use that knowledge and expand it throughout Dominica. And that Dominica would become a center in itself to teach the rest of the region. We have a lot to offer the rest of the world. We have a lot that we can give. We have become a leader to some extent in the whole renewable energy field throughout the world.
The SIDS-DOC chairman is confident that Dominica can make significant headway in sustainable energy development and climate resilience.
Clearly, it seems that we have the solutions. We have the ideas that could generate the solutions. What we need to do is to be able to have that kind of discussion where we can place our ideas and our suggestions on the table. We have the ability, we have the skills, we have the expertise. Our children have been trained in the same universities around the world. They have the same abilities, but they have not gotten the opportunity, the exposure, sometimes the guidance that they need. Coming out of this is not so much as to what projects we're going to implement, although I would love to see that. But for me, it is more about our belief in ourselves, knowing that we can solve our problems, knowing that we have the ideas that we need, and being able to identify and access the technologies that we need to solve these problems. But we have to generate the innovation from within.
And speaking of climate resilience, the Swedish government has pledged its support as Dominica continues on its path towards sustainable energy development and climate resilience. Marie Karlberg of the Swedish Energy Agency attended a 3-day national workshop on sustainable energy and climate resilience here this week.
This is an integrated process that we're doing, a multi-stakeholder interactive process where we identify options that we can take forward together. It's about identifying interlinkages between sectors, identifying where you have the intersections that could provide multiple co-benefits and also could maximize your impact of the intervention. From the Swedish government side, we want to move on swiftly with this, and we have earmarked support for identified projects, and we can provide that support through technical assistance, capacity building, whatever you come up with. And as such, probably provide some kind of piloting projects as well.
The coordinator of SIDS-DOC was also on island for the 3-day meeting.
For us, the important issues are to try to identify projects that have multiple benefits, that have linkages between the sectors, and I think we've been able to do that. And with the work of the groups, we will continue to nail down on these options for the future.
Stakeholders were commended for collaborating to help combat the effects of climate change.
Climate change and climate resilience is something that is not something that any one party or one ministry has to work with. We realize that there has to be this, as have been said before, this level of collaboration. I believe that your efforts over the past days, especially as it relates towards looking at measures towards creating climate resilience, will for sure continue to impact positively on this country, Dominica.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, one young lady gives back to an institution which positively impacted her life. Thank you for staying with us. St. Mary's Academy has held on to the upper secondary school winner position in the NBD-sponsored National Math Power Contest. The National Math Power Contest is held every other year and divided into 3 categories. In 2014, the St. Mary's Academy won both upper and lower secondary school divisions, while St. John's Primary won the primary school segment. This year, however, the Lighthouse Christian Academy emerged victorious in the primary school section, while Portsmouth Secondary won the lower secondary school level and SMA once more won the upper secondary school category.
By now, I would hope that we are all convinced that math is a very important subject necessary for everyday life, and that we must get it right, meaning that we as Ministry of Education and as a country must ensure that the majority of our students are leaving our education system with essential knowledge and skills. Math is all around us. It is part of our everyday life.
Fontaine says the ministry continues to place emphasis on the importance of mathematics and has already begun to see improvements in student performance.
Our mission in the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development is to educate and prepare all students to live productive lives in a complex and changing society. If we are to achieve this mission, then just as we have to ensure that our students are literate when they exit our system, we must also ensure that they are numerate and can understand and apply mathematical concepts to their everyday lives. Our students, teachers, and principals have embraced the Math Power Contest, and that together with the other math initiatives we have been implemented, we have seen continued and continue to record increases in performance.
The Math Power Contest was sponsored to the tune of $50,000.
Our hope for this initiative is that it will inspire our children to have a greater interest in mathematics, which we all know is a cornerstone for basic education, and help to improve our overall performance in the subject. Already, through the ministry's intervention, we have begun to see the results. I dare say that we are on the right track for sustained success, and NBD is proud to play its part through the National Math Contest.
St. Martin Primary School placed 3rd, St. John Primary came in 2nd for the primary school segment, while St. John's Academy placed 3rd and St. Mary's Academy came in 2nd in the lower secondary school division. Orion Academy secured 3rd place, while Portsmouth Secondary came in 2nd in the upper secondary schools category. And students have been urged to use math to make themselves more competitive on a global scale. The remarks by the Minister for Education speaking at the closing ceremony of the Math Power Contest on Wednesday.
The job market is fast becoming more and more diverse as we create new avenues and make inroads into the new economy. The development of mathematical skills in students will become even more critical. The Math Power Contest, therefore, is a good place to start as we prepare our students to be competitive players in the global marketplace.
Saint-Jean reminded students that math played an important role in a society's development.
Understanding basic mathematical concepts will help our citizens to excel in all aspects of life. With the increasing importance of information technology, prospects for careers related to math are very high. And here in Dominica, we strive to position ourselves as major players in the technological arena.
Saint-Jean also commended the Ministry of Education for its continued initiatives to improve the success rates in mathematics. And a former student of the Social Center Adolescent Skills Training Program has revisited the institution hoping to inspire present-day students to make good choices in life. Dominica's Carnival Mother's Queen has embarked on a series of outreach events as part of her reign. Erna Reynolds from Massac, who won the competition in January this year, says her love for children prompted her to visit the social center.
I was at the social center today to introduce myself to the kids, have a little interaction with them, and let them know that I was a past student here. And also, as I'm a mother, they asked me to come to the school so I could, express my love to those kids as I do with my son. It was very nice. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind doing it again. I made them see that there's someone they can look up to, and they would, as a model, show them that they were still loved.
The social center had received a financial contribution from the Mother's Queen Show organizing committee last year.
And as the Mother's Queen, it would be very nice for me to interact with the students and to the students of the social center to encourage them, because that's where I took classes. And the choices I made here, that's what I'm the person I am today, because I was like them. It was a little difficult for me to go high school and stuff like that, but I took classes there and I made the best of it. So that's what I was really here today, to encourage them that they can do the same as I did. So I just want to encourage those who are thinking of dropping out of school, don't do it, because there'll be a time in life that you will need it. So just take your education seriously.
Coordinator of the social center says this visit by Reynolds was significant.
We are a non-profit, non-governmental organization, and we rely on donations and help from the community. So this went very, very useful. I think why Erna came is because she came to our program and graduated from it. So I think it is something to help them to aspire, to aim, because she may tell them, say a few words to them, to kind of encourage them and inspire them. So I hope that they can see coming to the program, or even if they're out of school, there is a second chance.
Reynolds also visited the home for the aged in Mount Daniel as part of her outreach activities. That's news. We join Kenny Williams next with your sports highlights.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. In football, we move to the two matches scheduled for Friday in the DFA All-Island League. Goodwill All-Stars and Maui Soka Strikers will battle it out from 5 p.m. at the Newtown Playing Field. And Nemesis United will come up against Jubilant Football Club at 5 p.m. at the Benjamins Park. On the basketball scene, two Division I matches in the 2016 Flow DABA League are scheduled for Friday. Two Ministers teams will take to the court when Justina Charles Thunderers and Kelvadaru Hurricanes do battle at 7 p.m., followed by a face-off between Tigers and Detroit Blazers at 9 p.m. Friday's games are scheduled for the Massac court. Still in sports, cricket commentator and sports enthusiast Joseph Thomas expresses concerns over the future of sports in Dominica. Thomas believes after athletes pass the high school and tertiary levels, their interest in sports usually decreases.
You have children at school now who participate in sport. When they leave school, where do they go to? What do they go to? They go back to the communities. They are part and parcel of a community from which they came. And therefore the community must provide the support for the youngsters. That is the only way that sport is going to go and develop. Regardless of how many stadiums and how many this and that you have, if you don't have the support of the public, you're not going to get anywhere.
Thomas says the work of the sports division is commendable in developing talent, but other stakeholders can do more.
Had it not been for the work of the sports division, probably would not have had anything. But having said that, the work of the sports division you have, that seeks to participation at the under 13s, the under 15s, that is good. The problem is, after they're finished there, they've gone to, say, secondary school, they've gone to a tertiary institution. What happens after that? All of this really is because we do not have proper sports clubs. Because if you had the sports clubs would be able to push the national associations, would be able to get work done, but we don't have that. So we just pinning like top in mud.
Still on the local sports scene, the 2016 First Domestic Insurance Secondary Schools Under-15 Cricket Championships continues Friday at 2 venues. At Benjamin's Park, Portsmouth Secondary will be hoping to avoid a humiliating home ground defeat when they face the Isaiah Thomas Secondary. And over at Castle Bruce, Northeast Comprehensive and Castle Bruce Secondary will engage in bat and ball action at the Castle Bruce playing field. The games begin at 10 a.m. Still in sports, former champions Flo Wolfpack proved they still have what it takes to be victorious as they defeated Delnage Celtics in the 2016 Flo Dominica Amateur Volleyball Association League on Wednesday. Leading the men's Division 1 match 3-1, Wolfpack had game scores of 25-19, 26-24, 16-25, and 25-19. The league continues on Saturday with 2 games. At 5, Steinman Celtics takes on Portsmouth Breakers in the women's division, while at 6:30, Delnage Celtics will clash with Breakers in the men's Division 1 match. On to international cricket. Sunrisers Hyderabad defeated Gujarat Lions by a massive 10 wickets with 31 balls remaining in the 15th version of the Indian Premier League on Thursday. Sunrisers won the toss and chose to field first. Gujarat Lions first at the crease were 135 for 8. Suresh Raina was the only Lions batsman of note with 75 runs. Dwayne Bravo added 8. B. Kumar dismantled the Lions batting lineup, taking 4 for 29 for Hyderabad. Sunrisers in their reply were 137 without loss. David Warner top scored with 74, while S. Dhawan assisted with 53. Coming back to football. 4 schools have qualified, but only one will lift the championship trophy when the 2016 NBD Primary School Girls Football Championships resume on Friday. The Woodford Hill and Goodwill Primary Schools will play in the first semi-final round. Game 2 will feature a match between Grandford and Salisbury Primary. The games are scheduled for 1 and 1:45 p.m. respectively. Following the semi-final matches, a game to determine the 3rd and 4th place team will be played, followed by the grand final. Sansevier Primary was last year's champion. Finally in sports, following her unfortunate ankle incident on Sunday, Wesley's goal attack Nerissa Hippolyte stands to benefit from a fundraising match put on by the Dominica Netball Association on Friday. The event will display a variety of netball talent from around the island in a competitive spirit. Proceeds from Friday's games will go towards funds required for Hippolyte's ankle surgery. The Netball Association is calling on the public and members of the various sporting fraternities on island to lend their support. Starting time is 4:30 p.m. That's all the time for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Do join us again next time.
Coming up next, your weather report.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Career. Today, a trough system was the dominant feature, which resulted in generally partly cloudy to cloudy skies across the area today. Earlier visible satellite imagery shows the clouds associated with this trough system concentrated mainly over the northern Windward Islands and also over the leewards. Earlier radar imagery indicated some scattered shower activity across Guadeloupe and also across the Leeward Islands. The weather tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to cloudy with some scattered showers, and the weather tomorrow is expected to be partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered showers mainly during the morning period. The marine conditions will be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and seabathers, please do exercise caution. The weather for the next 3 days, tomorrow Friday, as I said, partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered showers mainly during the morning period. On Saturday, partly cloudy skies and also breezy conditions are expected with just a few showers. And on Sunday, a general improvement is expected. Fairly partly cloudy skies, hazy conditions and also breezy conditions will be maintained. For the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow, again, a trough system will affect weather conditions, resulting in occasional cloudiness with some scattered showers across the Lesser Antilles. On the international scene, some thunderstorm activity expected in Miami and Caracas. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies with scattered showers for New York and London, and some beautiful fair skies for Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:46 a.m. and will set at 6:22 p.m. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. The Telecoms Director advocates for laws to deal with the prevalence of cybercrime in the region. An electronic communications bill expected to lead to a level playing field in the telecoms market, and a $6 million EU-funded project to rehabilitate farm access roads in Salisbury due to start in June. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris, and to all our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.